has come from everyday people. Small donations, $10, $20,
$5,
$40, and which shows that there is a large awakening in the American people that they want her to be our next president.
But the Republicans say it's about the honeymoon.
Well, I don't think I think they're wrong, and I think they're doing everything wrong. First of all, Donald Trump went to a association of black journalists, and he got up there in front of them, and
in Chicago.
He started saying that Latin and mostly from Central America, people coming across the border were taking black jobs. Black jobs. And so when they asked him, well, what's a black job? You know, talking about a disgusting, discriminatory, racist comment. And so I can tell you that all those black journalists, they came away from that with the feeling that this guy can't be back in the White House. He's going to be the worst thing for America. He's going to be the worst thing for black people in America and minorities. And so the few black Republicans that you see left, I don't have any respect for them because they know who Donald Trump is. We all know, and every time we think that he's not as bad as he appears to be, he says something else that, and this week he now is attacking Kamala Harris, saying, well, she never said she was black. She said she was Indian.
Indian, yes.
And so now he's embarrassed himself again, and now he's insulted anybody of Indian heritage.
Yes.
And now he's insulted anybody of black heritage. And so I feel confident now that the African Americans of the United States and all other people of color are going to mobilize to vote for Kamala Harris in November.
I don't think he makes the difference, or he knows the difference between ancestry and race. I don't think he's aware of that.
I don't think he's aware of it. He's somebody who they say he does not read books. He doesn't read at all. That all his briefings, he doesn't read briefing notes the whole time he was president. And his family has a history of racism. His father owned a whole series of buildings, rental buildings in the Bronx, New York. And then he took over his family business. Well, his family, they were fined by the federal government over $50 million for refusing to rent apartments to African American people.
Yeah, alors, now, today, we have to focus on different type of services provided by your office. Let's go to car accident or slip and fall.
I just brought today a whole number of brochures that we printed, and these brochures, which will be passed out and mailed out from my office, are in Creole and in English. And so we did this especially for our Haitian American clients and friends, so that they would have a brochure that is explaining all of the things that I do in English, all the services that I provide in English, as well as in Creole. And if you look at the brochure, which I've just handed you a copy of, and it happens to be beautiful. There's a picture of me, but it's kind of an old picture. I don't have as much hair now as I had in that picture. But it also has a picture of my building in Miami Lakes, which will make it easier for my clients when they pull up to the building. They'll know they're in the right place because they have a picture of the building in front of them. But it also says that we handle automobile accidents. Well, I've handled over 6,500 automobile accidents during my career. That means that I've represented people that have been in all types of automobile accidents, and we have been successful in that many. And statistically, it's been proven that a lawyer who represents you for an automobile accident, you're going to get 3 times more settlement money than if you try to do it yourself, because the insurance companies now, if you're in an accident and it's caused by another person who's insured by an insurance company, that insurance company is going to call you directly and attempt to give you a check and settle your case before you can go and hire a lawyer and find out really what your injuries are, really what you're entitled to. So the way we represent automobile accident cases, it's on a contingency basis, which means if we don't collect any money for you, you're not charged. And so we do everything we can to get you the most money that you deserve in your case.
Listen, tell me, what makes the accidents cases are so complicated for certain lawyers to do the settlement? Sometimes some clients, they say, "Oh, my lawyer sold my case."
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I've been hearing that for years. Here's the problem that we have. We have a lot of drivers in Miami who don't have driver's licenses. And it's a shame. It's a travesty that the state of Florida knows we have people here that are working every day, supporting their families. They do not have the proper immigration documents. They don't have a green card. And they don't have a work permit. But they have to drive. They have to go to work. So the state refuses to give them a driver's license. And without a driver's license, you can't buy insurance. So we have all these thousands of uninsured drivers driving around Miami. And if you're in an accident with one of these people, they don't have a policy that a personal injury lawyer can go after to collect the money. So sometimes you're in an accident, it's the other person's fault, but we find out that that person did not have insurance, and for one reason or another, and we have to tell our clients, look, if you have uninsured motors, which very few people have, I have it, but most people, it's expensive, and so most people don't have it. But uninsured motorists, if you can afford it, is the best thing to have in Miami now, which means if I'm hit by an uninsured driver, I can collect for my damages and my injuries from my own company. And but like I said, it's very rare. There aren't that many people that have it because it is expensive.
Very expensive.
But if you're in an automobile accident, you need a lawyer that has experience like I have that can go and find out everything we need to know about the other driver. We also need to find out how many cars he has in his family, because sometimes the car that he is driving may not have coverage, but he may have another car in his family, in his household, that does. And so it can be complicated, and if you don't have an experienced personal injury attorney, you may lose out and you may not get a settlement.
Listen, in what situation you would advise your client to do a quick sales? In what situation? In what circumstances?
A quick sale of
her or his house.
Okay. Well, that happens. We have a case right now where my client's mother died, and she was in and out of the hospital, and they want to sell the house now. She left it to her 3 kids, and so they want to sell the house. And I told them, look, it's better to sell the house now than to wait, because if there were any leftover debts of your mother, credit cards, medical bills, things like that, and you wait too long, those credit card companies may have made a claim, they may have filed a lawsuit against your mom, which will make the money that you receive at the closing, that those debts could be deducted from the money you get. So if you're in a situation like that, otherwise, you're going to have to negotiate every one of those debts. But the other thing is that the house is sitting empty. The worst thing you can have is an empty house. So you need, because you have to have insurance on the house. You have to cut the grass. You have to keep the power on, because if there's no power, there's no air conditioning, the house will develop mold. So every day that you have that empty house of your mother or your father or your relative, it's costing you money It's less money for you to have. It's better to sell it fast, get an experience. The best thing is get an experienced realtor who works in your area, because that realtor knows what they're doing. They're going to be able to sell the house much faster than you are. And so when you get to that point, you're going to call my office, because we've handled over 10,000 real estate closings during my career. And so we'll help you with the contract. We'll help you close the deal. We'll make sure that you get every dollar that you're entitled to. We'll make sure that all the liens and everything of the house are taken care of, and we'll make sure that there is a closing. And we'll also negotiate with any inspectors. If there's an inspection and they find some defects in the house, we do everything from contract to closing. And so you're really at an advantage if you call my office.
305-821-5500, 305-821-5500. In the brochure, also, we're talking about modification. What is that?
Okay. Modification is you have a mortgage on your house, and your interest rate, let's say your interest rate is 9 or 10%. The interest rate now has just gone down. It's going to go down some more before the election.
You think so?
I think so, yeah. Well, today they got some bad job figures. But the interest rate was 7.25%. We did a closing 3 weeks ago, and they're paying 7.25%. We did one last week, and they're paying 6.75%.
Oh, really?
So it's gone down a half a point. A half a point
Maybe
over a 30-year period of time adds up to a lot of money. So I think that the rates are going to go down.
Maybe
now's
7?
a great time. Everybody says that houses are too expensive. Well, houses are going up. Houses are going up every month. And so it's better to close now with the interest rate that it is than wait for the house to go up another 10% next year. So the house you're looking at that's $300,000 next year, it's going to be $340,000 or $350,000. So it's better to buy it now. Contact my office if you're interested in finding a house. We'll refer you to realtors who can look for the area where you think you want to live, and we can help you from contract to closing.
I see the brochure. So why you decide to translate everything from English? In what interest you do that? Based on what?
Well, a lot of my clients don't speak English to the point where they're comfortable, but they speak Creole. And so I know we've had brochures for years that were in English and Spanish.
But now,
so I said, no, that's not fair to all my Haitian clients and friends. So now we've printed up, I think we printed 4,000 brochures. So I'm leaving a whole bunch of them with you, Severe, and I put some outside. And I would love to have everybody get a copy of the brochure. And I think hopefully the Creole, we had a translator, and then we had the #1 translator, Severe, go over what was done by the translator, and he made a lot of corrections. So I think that it's done well. We have a couple of pictures in there, but we pretty much cover all of the different things that I provide in my office to help you all, because we've got automobile accidents, we have slip and fall. If you fall in a grocery store, slip on a banana peel. We also show bankruptcy. We associate with the #1 bankruptcy attorney in South Florida. Real estate, we've already talked about. Anything that has to do with real estate, buying and selling a house, we do that. Title insurance, we write title insurance, which guarantees you when you buy a house that nobody can ever take that house away from you, because you have a title insurance policy that covers you for all of the years that you own that house. We show immigration. I have an associate that does immigration. So if you have an immigration issue, you can call us and we'll associate you with my associate. Lady Bird deeds. We're doing Lady Bird deeds every week. Lady Bird deed, if you want to leave your house to your daughter, okay? So we can do a Lady Bird deed. the deed will read to you and to your daughter when you pass away. You still are the owner of the house. You can still sell the house. You can still mortgage the house. But someday when you do pass away, it will automatically go to your daughter or to whoever else you put on that Lady Bird deed. And that way you avoid probate, which is very, very expensive. A probate case can cost you anywhere from $4,000 to $10,000 in Miami or in Fort Lauderdale or almost any place in Florida. We also show wills and trusts. We do wills every week for people. It's very important that you have a will. You want to be able to decide who gets what. If you don't have a will, then you die what they call intestate. Then the state takes over. So if you don't have a will and then you have relatives, and you may have a brother who you haven't spoken to in 10 years who owes you $10,000. Well, if he's the only relative, closest relative to you, he could end up inheriting your house, all your bank accounts, and everything. So very important to have a will, especially for young couples that have kids that are under 18. Something, God forbid, happens to you and your spouse. Who do you want to raise your kids? Where do you want your kids to live? That's very important to have, especially anybody who has kids under 18. Divorce, we don't do a lot of divorces, but we associate with other divorce attorneys that do. Criminal defense, I was a criminal defense attorney for 25 years. I still handle the minor criminal cases. The big ones, I refer to my associate, who's been doing criminal law for 42 years, okay? So we pretty much, what we're saying is that we cover all your legal needs.
All right, so have a great weekend, Mr. Keel.
Okay, the other thing, very important, we found out the last day to register to vote is October 7th. The election is on November 5th. So if you're not registered to vote, you cannot vote in November 5th if you're not registered by October 7th. So everybody's got to get, especially now that we have such a great candidate for president, you've got to make sure that you're registered before October 7th. That's a Monday. So everybody's got to be registered, and so in order to be able to vote in this election, because this is going to be the most crucial election in my lifetime, and pretty much everybody else, because I'm older than most of y'all.
All right, my friend, have a great weekend. Have a great Friday. So I hope to...
One more thing. It's summertime. Kids are in the pool. Don't trust the lifeguard who's talking to his girlfriend. Your kids are in the pool. You stand there on the side of the pool and you watch your kids. You take them to the beach. You take them to Crandon Park. You take them to Virginia Key. They go in the water. You need to be standing there with them. You cannot let them out of your sight. So everybody have a great weekend. Everybody have a safe weekend. And let's get everybody registered to vote.
Thank you, Mr.
Severe, thank you very much for leading this.
Yes.
Thank you very much for all your help in allowing me to speak to everybody today.
Thank you very much. Nous avons parlé avec avocat Keel, et surtout pour les gens qui sont foreclosure, les gens qui font accident machine, et restez branchés ou pas écouter explosion.